Hello. I want to talk today about joy, following your heart, going in the right direction, and happiness. Well, my experience has been that when we follow our heart, when we do the right thing for ourselves, we move towards greater and greater happiness, actually. We move towards a better place for ourselves. That means we feel more at peace, more satisfied, more fulfilled. So when we go in the direction that our heart calls us to, we are going in the best direction for ourselves. It is to balance our lives out. And you could also say that this is following your heart towards God. So you're also listening to God and taking steps to move towards God and do what God says for you to do. Now, it is a work in progress, of course. So whatever you do, you can get better at, and we become stronger at it. So when we listen to our heart or listen to God, we are moving in a direction that gets us to be able to hear God better and helps us feel our heart even more. So the thing is, we may be able to hear it, but oftentimes we ignore what we hear or ignore our thoughts that we are given from God. Perhaps you have an idea about going to meet this old friend of yours, but then you put it off. There's something that you feel uncomfortable with about meeting this old friend of yours that you hadn't seen for years, perhaps. But when you do so, when you actually break through that wall, that barrier that prevents you from doing what your heart tells you to do, or doing what this thought that's aligned with your heart tells you to do, then your life actually becomes happier. You've displayed courage. You have a sense of fulfillment. You have a sense of accomplishment, and you have success. All of which make for a happier life. So we are to move towards those thoughts and those ideas that are aligned with our heart. And when we do so, we are listening to God and taking action towards that idea or towards that thought. So we're taking action on what we hear from God. Now, there are always barriers to anything that's worth it. There are always barriers. One major barrier is actually basically ignorance. Ignorance of what is good for us and what is aligned with our heart. Part of that is because we do not exercise this sense that we have, which is connected to God. So we oftentimes miss this sense of a connection to God, and so we don't really listen to that inner voice, or I also call it the inner compass. When we miss listening to that, we are not going to be able to go towards the best direction for ourselves. Life may eventually take you there, and it always seems to try to correct your course in order to do so. But if the sooner that you become aware of what I'm saying, the sooner you become aware of these thoughts and messages that you get from God, then you can more easily take steps to go in the right direction and live a life that's filled with more life, a life that's happier and more satisfying. So anyway, I'll talk with you more in a little bit. Thank you for listening.